Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ZeroTakes channel, bringing you content that nobody asked for. Today, for my first video, it's all the rage right now, Stranger Things, hopping into a tier list. We're going to start by explaining what my tiers are. RIP, pretty self-explanatory. I think these characters will be dead here in Season 5, potentially cooked. There's a chance, a good chance, I think. Could see it. It's like a 50-50. There's some scenarios where they will, some they might not. Just throw them in the middle. Not too worried. I'm not too worried about the characters who end up in this tier to die. There's a small chance, but overall, not too concerned about them and chilling. I think there's like a 0% chance that these characters will die. Okay, so to begin, we are going to start with the main man, Mr. Jim Hopper here. And I am honestly not too worried about Hopper in Season 5. They've already done the fake death, and I think it would just be silly to make him die again here in Season 5. It would be pretty tragic, but I think it's a pretty low chance. On the opposite side of the spectrum, for Joyce, she's been relatively safe, I think, regarding the past few seasons. And I think that there's a chance that she could bite the dust here. I'm going to put her in potentially cooked. Just with Joyce, it would be very sad. Later on, I don't want to spoil where her kids might go, but for Joyce, I think there could be a sacrifice play in hand for her, so putting her there. Now we're going to get to the stretch of bums, I'll say. I don't know. We don't know who these characters really are yet. And you know, with Stranger Things, new characters, they're dead. So moving them both into the dead category, I mean, they have no chance. Now we're going to go to Mr. Ted Wheeler. Thing with Ted is, it doesn't really matter. I mean, he's in the seasons, and he has some funny lines, but overall not too important to the story. He's more used as like a gag character. Has been shown in some of the trailers, and because of that, I think he might be potentially cooked just because there could be some, the Wheelers could be sad if he dies, but I think that if he does die, it won't be too detrimental to most of the characters, and I just think there's a decent chance of it happening with how much he's been shown. But now we go to Karen, and I could see it. She's going to go in the middle. I could see it, but I think that it is less likely than her husband to die here, and even less likely than Joyce. I just don't really see it. It's the same with Ted. It's not going to be as impactful as Joyce's death. And there's like a 50-50 chance just because she's a little more important to the show in Season 5, so we've been hearing, and I think that's a good place for her. Holly, they're not going to kill Holly. I just don't see them taking this route, even though she, again, is going to be a little more important. It would be crazy, but I see that spot and chilling for Holly. Now we're going to get into the more, the high school age kids here. Starting off with Jonathan. Man, this is a tough one. I could kind of see him, again, along with Joyce, being potentially cooked. Now, I don't think that it'll be both of them, but I think they have like the same likelihood as one dying as the other. Like, if Joyce doesn't die, I think Jonathan, not looking good for him. For Nancy is going to go 50-50. See, I could see it, but I don't really think it would make sense to kill her. But just because she's going to be so prominent in the season, there's always a chance. There's too much going on, like relationship-wise with her, Jonathan, Steve, that triangle. She has her own aspirations beyond Hawkins. I just think it would be a little bit of a silly move, but anything's possible with this show. So now we get to Steve. Oh, man. Everyone thinks Steve is toast. I love Steve. I think he could be toast, but I'm going to place him again right next to Jonathan. At the end, we'll kind of sort this out to see who's most likely to die along the categories, but Steve has a better chance than not, I think, to die. I think it would make sense in a way. He's beloved. Everyone loves Steve, and his whole thing with Nancy, um, his whole thing being the babysitter, I can see him sacrificing along the same lines as Joyce or Jonathan. Really don't want to see it, but I think it's pretty likely. Um, Next we have Robin. I think Robin's gonna be fine. I think if they would have killed her, probably would have happened in season 3. Stranger Things, new characters, barely any surviving to the end. I think that Robin is fine or will be fine. There's a great chance of her making it out of this season. I don't really see a point of killing her. She's not too connected to many of the characters, mostly just Steve. And yeah, that's just what I see from Robin this season. I believe this is Vicky down here. That's Robin's love interest last season. She'll be fine. Not too important to the story. I don't think there's a reason to kill her. It would only really impact Robin. Um, just not too important. Here's one that I think is pretty much a guarantee. Moving on to Murray. He will die, unfortunately. He's a beloved character. He's a kind of a comic character. You know, I just don't see him making it out. It's a good enough death that it'll affect, Joyce, Hopper, Jonathan, Nancy. And I just think that this season would be the right season to kill him. He's kind of made his mark on the show. He's lasted his time, and I think it's about over for him. Moving on down, we have Erica. I'm not worried about Erica dying here. Another one that's completely safe for me. I just don't see a world where the show would kill off Erica. I think there's more likely characters, as we see up here, where they would go to kill someone, especially if it's more impactful to other characters. With Erica, I think everyone would obviously not want a child to be killed or younger teen to be killed, but I don't see a plot line that involves her dying. Then we got this fucking kid. Who the hell is this? I know there's been promo for him and stuff. Um, this Kevin G kid reminds me of my friend JT. I don't really care. Should just add another one for this kid, but he's probably not gonna die. I can put him in not too worried just because who the fuck cares? I guess we'll see. I'm not too worried about him. I mean, I could see maybe that freak attack that we see at the end of the promo for these episodes dropping today, day before Thanksgiving. There's a chance, but I'm not too worried about it. Now we're getting into the main 6 kids, and we're gonna start with Dustin. Now there's been some chatter saying, "Oh, he's gonna die. He looks roughed up. He's gonna die." I don't think they're gonna kill Dustin. I'm gonna put Dustin in not too worried. There's always a chance. Last season, I think at least one of these main kids will die in season 5. It just comes down to who, and I think Dustin, there's a small chance. He has been kind of like that glue for the group. He kind of keeps everyone together. Mike's been off doing his own thing with 11 for some of the seasons. Lucas had Max. Will is obviously gone a lot season 1 and is on his own path now. But I don't really see them killing Dustin, but I could see it being impactful enough that they at least consider it. So I'm putting him in not too worried, but like the category says, I'm not too worried about Dustin. Now we're going to move to Mike. I think there's no chance that Mike dies. I just don't see it. It would be very impactful, but I think if there's one kid that they will not touch, it's Mike. I know the Duffer Brothers, the creators, talk about Mike being like their input, their viewpoint. They kind of base Mike around how they were kind of viewing the world and experiencing the world when they were growing up. It's kind of their look into the show. And I just don't see Mike dying, so he's completely safe. Now we're going to move on to Lucas. Now, with Lucas, I think I could see Lucas dying. Everyone's kind of been theorizing for the main kids. Will's kind of up there for a lot of people. Dustin's up there a little bit. Lucas is definitely up there for a lot of people. And he's in the middle. I can see a lot of storylines because he's obviously going to be very involved with Max throughout the season, as he has been, but kind of more of a guardian role. You see him carrying her in the hospital in the trailer. I could see Lucas dying, maybe sacrificing himself for Max, but in the same vein, I really don't think that's the direction they're going to go. And I think I'm just going to put him in. I can see it because I really could, but I don't really think that's the route they're going to go. So that's where he's going to land. Next, we have Max. I'm going to throw her in the middle, too. I think that her dying last season, but not being dead, being brought back by 11, and being at least alive for this season will definitely allow her not to die. You know what? I'm just going to move her to not too worried. Because I really don't think that they're going to do the whole, again, fake death, kind of like the Hopper. Not fake, but dying, but being brought back kind of thing. I don't think she's going to die to just die again this season. It doesn't really make sense narratively. So I'm not too worried about Max. I think there's going to be a plot line. Probably not in the first 3 episodes, maybe the 4th, or maybe some of those episodes dropping on Christmas Day where Max comes back out of her coma and she becomes a character in the story actually doing things. I just don't see her dying. This is where it gets interesting, though. We got Will. Will is potentially cooked. Out of the main 4 boys from the start of the show, I think Will's the most likely to. I've heard a lot of discourse online about, Will, why would they kill Will? It's always been about protecting Will. Season 1, they fought so hard to get him back. Season 2, they fought so hard to get the Mind Flayer out of Will. But I just think with his connection to the Upside Down and what we've seen in the trailers with Vecna needing him, there's a decent chance that he has to die narratively for the show to wrap up and finish on the note they want it to. I don't want him to die, like the character, but I think there's a decent chance that Will is cooked. Don't have a picture for the Mind Flayer, but he'd go up and rip along with Vecna. I'm sure Vecna's going to take out many people along the way, but the show and the story in season 5 will not end without Vecna dying. I just don't see it. So he's dead. And he's going to join 11 up and dead. I'm sorry, but 11, I think she's cooked. I think she's dead. I think she kind of has to go for it to make sense as well. And I've seen a lot of things, like especially with her and Hopper, it'll be real sad if she does die. But I just don't see a world where they completely solve this, patch it up, and kind of fulfill and block off the Upside Down successfully without all attachments to that world being gone, and with 11 being so attached to Vecna and the Upside Down. I don't see how they can do that without, killing her. So unfortunately, I think 11 will die. There's a chance she doesn't, but I think it's like 85% chance. I think she's more dead than potentially cooked. If I had to order them, these two definitely dying. Vecna up here with them. Put them like this. Murray 4th, definitely dying. And then I'll put 11 down here as the one who might slip out of that category, but I think she's dead. For this row, potentially cooked, I think Mr. Wheeler, definitely cooked. I'm going to put these on the same plane. I'm going to put Steve above just because it just makes so much sense for him to die. And then I'm going to put Will here because I think It will happen. That's why he's in this category. But there's an argument in my brain, at least, where I could see it happening. So I'm gonna put him last on the list. In this category, Lucas is shooting up to the front. I think there's, again, I debated him up in this category. I'm just gonna leave him at the top. And then I like the rest of this. Nancy being not as worried, but still a little worried about her, and Karen being that true middle ground there. The not too worried. Um, Fuck this kid. I don't know. He can go to the top. Don't know enough about him. I'm more worried about Dustin than Hopper, I think, and then less worried about Max. I think Max is the closest to being closest confident that I can say to surviving out of those four than Hopper, Dustin, and that kid. And then Chillin, I'm not going to order these just because I think they're all going to survive. I mean, if I had to guess, maybe Mike is down there. She's last. She can maybe jump up, or maybe not. It's supposed to be this way. Maybe I could see this. I think Erica's probably the least likely to die. I don't really see it. But that is my Stranger Things Season 5 Death Tier List. Who's the most likely to die? If you like this, consider subscribing. Might keep posting. Probably will. I like doing it. And thank you for watching.